Western world's most alluring status symbols. A toy for promenading round the Côte d'Azur, the essential transport of mistresses and playboys, the sort of thing you used to see trundling up and down the driveway of South Fork Ranch. But, and this may surprise you, you don't need Bobby Ewing's bankroll.
I'd never heard of this bloke, but that doesn't mean anything.
I'll give you 3 good reasons
other than what it means.
buy a Merc SL.
But it's not Hammond's Uncle Quinton, or he does have a problem with a hand in the pocket.
Secondly, the Mercedes designers of the day affectionately dubbed the SL their Panzerwagen because it was built like a tank. And thirdly, if you put a non-dating registration on this one, it would look to all the world as they once driving 20 grand's worth.
1992, and so
No, 4 reasons actually.
I get it's.
The vituperous Mr. Clarkson likes the Merc SL, and as we know, if he gives any car the thumbs up, it's equivalent to a motoring knighthood, so they can't be bad. And now's the time to buy.
I was suspending plenty of disbelief and going with it. 1992. I really only remember watching this from maybe around a bit after that, maybe 93, 94. Vaguely from memory. Well, it's interesting. One of the things.
The baby Benz is a boulevard machine. Something to swan around town in.
I was just flashing it. I cleared 30 gigs just before, so interesting to see when this cuts out. But anyway. I'm looking at this, and
but far from being a wild extravagance, the SL makes a particularly shrewd buy.
At a particular stage, I went, oh, this made me quite uncomfortable. Mr. Fiddle with the, he's the dealer. He does this to everyone you buy, maybe. I don't know. You can't trust someone that's doing that. Now I'm seeing a little clearer on my screen actually what made me uncomfortable. And
as we all know today, to replace one today, you're talking sort of 50, 60, 70,000 pounds.
Leave it alone.
And working in that echelon, obviously, the more people they
can't trust someone doing that. Poking his fingers in and out there. It seemed to go for a lot longer before. This is what I'm half getting to. Not half. At some point around here, I went, hang on, because I thought I was being a bit judgmental about the dude's head and whatnot, and his ear in a second, and I was like, don't be like, to myself in my head, I was thinking, don't be so fucking judgmental. Whatever, he's got a weird ear and he's maybe Hammond's Uncle Quinton, I don't know. I don't have to have heard of him. And, you know, I don't remember them doing old cars, you know, that were dated at the time, but that doesn't mean anything what I remember in that regard. About here, a bit after this, I remembered, I was looking at his ear here, but let's not draw attention to his ear any more than I already have right here and just before, and, you know, maybe in a second. Very practical advice. I don't recall that sort of thing from Top Gear, but I could be a bit biased there. Yeah, he's just, man, and it was this point, I was going, his ears looks a bit fun, whatever. It could be a pretend ear, could be a whatever. Then I went, hang on. Oh, maybe it's been converted to widescreen because it wasn't widescreen in. And I was like, in 1992 we didn't know it wasn't widescreen. It was like 6 by whatever it's called, 6 by 4. I can't quite remember the specific dimension ratio. I remember the dimension. Like I don't know what dimension it was. It's a very different vantage to these days. However, same shape, just a very different spot on the same shape anyhow. Well, it wasn't widescreen anyway. So this is I don't know, just been converted to widescreen, but I don't know how you do that other than stretch it, and maybe that's why it looks a bit weird, and that's what I was kind of, you know, that was my intent. But that's right. As I just said that out loud, that point, because it's got weirder, and I was like, no, I understand why that looked like that.
Don't make the classic mistake of buying an SL without taking the hard top off first and having a look at the hood.
As I said that about, hang on, there wasn't widescreen in 1992. Then, what's been happening a bit lately is my video editor which they've kind of realised, well, that's been the thing that's just been taken over the computer, like jumping in front, and then I couldn't get it off. I was like, oh, I'm stuck here, so I had to. It wasn't for that long, but it was the timing that actually served to portray. Gave me, well, back. Made it a little sus. Just as I said that, and I'm like, that wasn't widescreen 992. Then, all of a sudden I can't see it anymore. It's changed to the typical kind of way that the panicking, whatever we want to call it, system we're in, sim, glitching, I don't know, take, oh shit, and it'll be like a wacky kind of like attempt at, yeah, sometimes it can be. I said the other day, like, oh, it's almost like charming, wacky, like it's just because they get close, but they fuck it up. Like, they get real close sometimes, but sometimes it's real obvious, right? And I'm not saying for sure that's it. I haven't really looked at it. But it's got the zigzags or the squares, that the long. It's hard to explain now, especially if I sit in one spot and start feeling a bit weird. And it could just be his hairline, whatnot. I was like, alright, he's just, whatever. Everyone looks different, it's alright. Obviously, it's a marketing machine, Top Gear always was. I didn't realise 28, it says, it's Series 28 in 1992. And things were different in 1992. That is interesting. I mean, maybe it was. So yeah, we've got these 10-year divisions, and I think that's 80s. But who knows? For the hell. They've always called them programs, haven't they? That's the thing. That's one of the things. Programming. It's called television programming. Everything's called what it is, but. Anyhow. It was conspicuous the way that one of my most valued pieces of software. It seemed to be infiltrated of late, and it just takes over, does things not supposed to do, just takes over the computer, and it did it. Does it? Some very there's a certain pattern in the timing of I've noticed. Continue to note, in fact, in future, in vain, in for fortuity, for the foreseeable future, for my own renewity, and investment into an slightly misunderstood but not misspent annuity. I think it's a surety in the manifestation of the past, which I'm currently discovering the future as now in the present. Words to probably a slightly, to that effect in a sense, but imagine that said a little nicer, better. I don't know. You don't have to imagine anything. And things are different. I'm not saying that. And you got to convert things to digital. I can't deal with that. It's just the widescreen thing. I was like, I don't remember. Because it was but this is in the UK, and we're a little bit slower in Australia behind. Certainly in that day. Less of a gap these days. But anyhow, all right, much love. Ciao. Thought it was going to cut me off. I thought I was a nudie run behind, but that's me reading into things probably a bit too much. And look, it's pleasing to see always those nature spirits and that always in stuff, like that's good. So I'm not questioning the whole thing, I'm just saying that Quinton kind of weirded me out a bit, and Clarkson's what had me going, oh shit, he looked like a vampire. Maybe he is. His eyes are black edges, he looks evil, but he always kind of, that's his role, he's a character, these are actors, let's not forget, or lest us not forget from back in the day of, when dry was dry and wet was wet, or so we thought. But I'm saying, well, it was a leopard. The spots probably were there, whether it was wet or dry, and let's not get too focused on the dampness of, or not of, said Clarkson type guy as an example, someone on the TV. Take it with a handful of salt, even if you didn't back then. I must have better bye.
Of the old Rover SD1.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
It went well enough.
That's just.
Had a luxurious interior.
Yeah.
Cozy sort of
It's
way,
just there's a
and
yeah.
it even
Yeah.
looked like a Ferrari Daytona. But while the design was quite good, the quality wasn't. Put simply, Rover didn't make them very well. Now, some owners were lucky. The car rusted away long before it had a chance to actually disintegrate. But others, those who kept the car in a garage and waxed it to keep the evil rust at bay, had to simply sit by and watch as their beloved car disintegrated around them. Understandably, both groups of people became very upset. So upset, in fact, that a lot of them vowed
Yeah.
that they would never ever buy another Rover again.
Yeah, the wheels also may not have been spinning, but I'm kind of overlooking at that, and etc.
Of course, today Rover builds its cars with a deal more integrity, but it is still tarred with
he looks like my neighbour's son, just kind of freaks me out a bit, but not in a, just a bit
The
trippy.
country, nay the world, is full to overflowing with people who quite simply are not prepared to forgive or forget. It's hard to say what it was that put a firework in Rover's underpants. The Honda tyre, privatisation...
Yeah, it's got a fair fat shallow, but who knows, let it go, let it go. I'm letting it go. I'm settling, pot, kettling, less, I'm telling myself as time does, inevitably progress. Yeah.
And try to imagine Rover making anything quite so radical.
Radical.
Can you? You can't, because it just wouldn't have happened.
Did he just call me a... No, I'm joking. He did say you can't though, but...
was about as adventurous as my grandmother. My grandmother never set foot outside Yorkshire in her entire life.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, he could be telling the truth. I don't know, I'm not going to judge Clarkson when he's telling the truth. He's on TV, so it's all it's all an act. It's all a big show even off TV, so let's leave it at that. Yeah, those squares, like, that happens in these days with really good resolution. And it's how you can tell there's some things going on that perhaps they're just projected along, and maybe we are all projections of the same oblong rectangular blocks that appear to come out sometimes and look like zigzags on edges and makes things a bit more what sort of holographic box are we living in? Alright, I'm out.
The ride, for the most part, soaks up all but the worst of those unexpected potholes. Only the most serious enthusiast will note that at a lick, the curiously weighted steering conspires with the suspension to make it all feel a bit loose. And those same enthusiasts will be a little disappointed with the performance. Smooth the coupe may be, but fast it is not.
Then we do forget how far technology's come as far as being able to, the quality of film and whatnot. That was a massive leap. Massive. This is evidence of that, possibly. Or this is evidence of more buggering around afterwards, creating Quinton head dimensions that stretch the memory of those in future timelines of distended dimensions, and I may be in one or more of those. I don't know. I think maybe we're in all of them. That's why it starts to get a bit like, and then we rationalise it in our own, not in a, well, you just rationalise away, but no, in like a, it's part of your being, transcending it and whatnot, and it's part of the cycles. Yeah, alright. Not the, well, I'm going to stop. I was going to take that into somewhere that didn't need to go. That's probably like here, I just wanted to upload a video, so I might do that. I must up to. It wouldn't record then. It's another one of those conspicuous, why now all of a sudden you don't want to record? I mean, I've certainly got my, I've already answered that question. I've got my suspicions, as to why, and it was I'd already just given up just then, And then I just happened, I was like, I paused it because I was going to put the thing on. And then I just noticed the gaps, right? Because he's moving his hand, claw, beak thing, which we can all look a bit like that at times. I've certainly, similar, I think, on my hands, There's just lots of things around us, that's all. There's lots going on here, but it's, again, one of those silly, ridiculous tasks that even, I'm not going to try and explain it. I just saw that and went, oh, all right. Well, I was like, well, I kind of did expect that when I saw his eyes in the thumbnail at the beginning. That's why part of the reason I clicked on it. Like, huh? And then I was intrigued. I was like, oh, Top Gear of the 1992. Wow. Like, yeah. Not really giving a shit about it that much at the time or that much since. I just thought, well, let's have a little look. And well, it's interesting. Shouldn't really be any surprise to me that someone in the media, someone like this, is going to be, interesting in ways perhaps like that. But that could be what, those colours there I see come off me. So, I'm not putting purely Clarkson in that category. Just noting that,
It's just like a gentleman's club. You have to wear a suit.
It's the lines when you can see behind, right? See, and I've seen that happen sort of like that with mine. Sort of where when rods come through, they'll kind of come through that. They come through doing that. Not quite like that, but Anyhow, and this again is old. This is old film turned to digital, so I'm not.
Rolls-Royce, as do the equipment levels.
We move our hands fast, It's just that perhaps
It's probably easier to list the stuff. Doesn't
when.
There's no microwave oven, and
As far as the physical,
no ski jump either.
It's made up of lots of non-physical, and I stopped and just.
I criticised it for having a steering wheel that looked just
It's only on the movement.
like a large grey.
Yeah, and that similar has happened to mine. It'll be little like things. Yeah.
Or over every.
It's it's interesting. Not so interesting that I'm gonna get to. Oh shit! Now that's interesting. I don't know how the fuck that happened. I did it, obviously. Try and blame something else, but because I wasn't looking at the thing.
It's important.
It was his eyes when I saw the thing. I was like, what the fuck? Just in the thumbnail, I was like, because you see things clear. I see things clearer on a thumbnail than I do on the actual thing. For what it's worth. I mean, Mrs. Clarkson looks just like she's had a rough. Anyhow, let it go. Don't say silly things like that. And type gentlemen's perms were alright back then, and they probably still are. Have you got on that school? Yeah. So what's you? His eye looks like it's a fair shiner. And I said shiner. I didn't say fair. I said fair shiner. I didn't say veg. I didn't say I had sounded. If for a second, I had an echoic memory bit, and I was like, did I just say? No, I said fair shiner. Nothing about China. Nothing vaguely close to China. I don't have angina. Neither does Clarkson. Never been to. No, everything. The only word that nearly comes out of my mouth is not. But yeah, that looks. Yeah, so perhaps Kelly. Jeremey Kelly Clarkson. I don't know. I'm going to start with this. It's not my thing to get involved in. They all have to. They have to wear makeup, don't they? That's how it goes. And especially if he's suffering domestic violence of some sort or inflicting it. Perhaps more so, and that's interesting, isn't it? Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, it's also, I think, it's just, we don't know enough about light. That's part of the issue, part of my issue, and I've been trying to learn a lot about it for a while, and I have. And what I've learnt is the more I learn, the more there is I don't know about it, and that's how it is with a lot of things, and that's okay. I don't judge it too severely, because I need to learn more about it. Alright, I'm going
I
to...
suppose it would be faintly idiotic to expect that all this comes cheap. It doesn't. In fact, the over 800 coupe will set you back £30,700, which makes it very nearly as much as the glorious 4-litre Jaguar XJX.
Yeah, and look, just for the record, those wheels are spinning. Looks legit to me, the wheel spin. You know, other things, well, that thing that I'm showing there that should be very obvious, that is what I said, that's the shapey cars have that now, and that's how you can tell, because I'll film at 60 frames. You know, top, the best quality. As a shapey or a mannequin, you just don't, that's the thing. Back then would be like a mannequin. Now it's like, well, perhaps old mannequins are shapeys, you know, or old shapeys and mannequins that have been made strangely semi-lifelike. Mandolin, nah, see, all I had was mandolins to go with mannequins. It's, you know, wishing they were Anakins, something like that would have been good. Maybe another time. I don't really want to talk about, I'm not really into mannequins. I'm over talking about shapeys. And this car's stretched as fuck, and that happens now as well. But whether this has changed from TV mode to widescreen, and they've done it and not realised, and that's stretched everything out, and that's probably, you know, that same stretch, that's going to make the hands do that, and that's going to make it in movement. It's going to be obvious. It's going to make the wheels. There you go. That's what I've been noticing in real reality. Well, real reality. So I'll notice here, and when the wheels get like oblong and the heels get taller, it's the dimension, the aspect ratio is slightly out, but it's happening in real time. It's stretched, so that's what's happening to the timeline. I'm seeing it more often because I'm using my own mind or my inner, you know, I'm kind of, I don't know. I remember things, and I think a lot of those around, like I had previously, had been mostly or more so was getting my I was getting a lot of my data that I was making decisions on, as far as evaluating the world around me, from coloured light box screen in the room, various news channels, that kind of, we all do. It's just that I stopped doing that a while ago, and no, didn't plan. Not amped on this, you know, little whatever it is or isn't. But I don't want to be comforted. Please don't comfort me with a lie. I'd rather know the difficult truth, and even if that difficult truth is whatever you want to say this is, which happens now as well, you could look at that and say, this could be exciting. I'm saying, well, it has to be. That's a shapey car. Fucking hell. But yeah, the stretch, that would do that. Because on the curvy bits, you're stretching the image that way, right? You're stretching it out, and that's going to less leaving gaps like that, and that's what's happening in real time, real apparent life in the sim city circus that I often reside in, or it resides around me, or it's difficult to explain. Just explaining and describing is harder than blind guy deaf and damn miming. No, I think I meant to say deaf and dumb, but yeah, I thought it was about to run out. Yeah, I was just wait, it's only 10 seconds. Deaf and dumb man miming, something like that. Anyhow, it's not a very nice picture to paint. I'll take that off. Too late. Shit. Bye. This is very familiar too. It's like the most you get from the bloody drivers and that, and passengers in the shapey vehicles is kind of like that. You know, when I first came on before, I thought, oh well, they're trying to. Anyhow, I'm just going into everything. gone enough. Got into it enough. Yep. All right, Clarkson. Or whoever that is. You could be anyone in there, couldn't you? I mean, yeah, I'm just going to not say any more. Really, it's like, paint your own, paint your own pout on that performance. I don't know. That's just what it is. But yeah, this is very familiar. Right there. Signs of stitching together time in a stretched out fashion, one may opine, but consider that there's no point when you see it, maybe you'll be like, yeah, is that like that? Oh, so, yeah, maybe not. That's okay. Right, I'm out.
Palatial.
Palatial, that's a very good P word I've really used. Thank you, Jeremey Kelly. I was trying to say good primordial, prima. Pristine performance, Clarkson. Pretty, potentially plausible, possible that all things on TV and around us are, well, changing the definition of shape, face, plausible in yours and possibly in my screen too. Just I chose to put this on my own data. This is a bit like what Boris. I did a thing and Boris turned out to be something like that. When I say Boris, I mean not Yeltsin. I mean the kind of goofy, whatever. What's his name? I can't remember Boris's name, but he's got blonde hair. Anyone who knows what this is supposed to be Clarkson. See, through the glass, things like through water, with the addition of another medium, the light really does tell a tale. Sometimes those tales have heads and faces, and sometimes maybe they should have gills and no sails, just scales and more water. Perhaps that's why it looks like that. It's his water in there. It's this aquarium. I don't know. I don't really know. It's all water, isn't it? Anyhow, that's enough. Thank you, Jeremy, etc. Anyhow, it's just the fact that we used to have bad quality, right? And now we've got better quality, and it just exposes the poor quality of the past, the recent past. I'm sure further back it was, great. Way back it looks like it was. The signs. Anyhow, enough signs here for me to stop.
Very comfortable.
Oh man.
The head and leg room are very generous.
Oh, it is. Sort of. Alright, it's very not very fair then.
Indeed. And the boot's huge too.
That's an interesting choice for they're pretty slickly produced, the Top Gears, as they certainly were as time progressed. And it's an interesting choice to go if they would chose this, or it's just some taking the piss since, or it's just this is what it was, and I didn't question it then. Why would I have? I can't barely work out what it is now, and it's like, yeah. And you weren't pausing TV. You didn't get a chance to do it. It was one go with everything. It was like it wasn't a digital TV. You could like pause, and even that was like, wow, I could pause it. So there's none of that. That's got a lot to do with why. It's only with the benefit of.
So can I cut it at this end of the market? On equipment levels, yes. On looks.
Oh, I noticed this before, but I rationalised it in my own head as like, but Alright, since we've come this far and I'm back at this spot, yeah, that's something that happens. You know, as in not being sarcastic. Like you take that as sarcastic, but it's yeah, it's another sign of blending with the background significantly in a interesting, questionable type way. I mean, that left dive is just
On engine refinement, yes. And on practicality, well, put it like this: it's leagues ahead of anything else in the class.
He knows he's hungover, had a big night. He's known for whatever. Who cares what he's known for? It's all a bunch of. All right, I'm out.
Success depends on how you look at it.
I should have took the screen record off. What is it, 10? I can't see. Now I'm struggling on here. So I can see it with my eyes though, it's interesting. Nice mix on a Thursday. And just a minute, I'll just take a picture. I see why it was blocked worldwide in that first in the first 31 seconds, yeah. They're like, shit. No one's gonna. Well, yeah, I get it. I see why they don't like it. Yeah, I mean, how hard it was to get them nearly up, and then they blocked it in nearly every bloody country. Just a bit towards the end, they just slowed down what was already there. You know, it's anyhow. All right, I'm out.